folks with the red shirts, men and women, they are unifying the city. They are part of the Austin Alliance, and we're very proud to have these people everywhere. They're very safe in case you have a question or you're in trouble. They're right here, and they can help you out with just about anything. And of course, we are one of the safest cities in the U.S. You'll see a lot of police presence here, but it's in a good way, not so much the bad way. Now, we are crossing, as I said, we cross Sabine. This is Red River. We're going to do something. What we're going to do is, you have those quackers, right? Well, we're going to be a very friendly group. What we're going to do is we're going to quack at people. This gentleman here with the red checkered shirt, I want you to quack 3 times, and y'all look like you could be prom or homecoming queen. So we're going to do the king-queen wave. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3, yeah! You got it. You got the wave. How about a quacking away from my friends on the right-hand side? Ready? 1, 2, 3, yeah! Imagine this is our own parade. Y'all are the beauty queens. We call that a drive-by quacking, but in a good way, all right? So as we travel down 6th Street, you will see lots and lots of smiling faces. About 99% of the people will smile and wave back at you. Only 1% will tell us we're number 1, okay? So that does happen from time to time. But that's because I'm a celebrity, so people are always kind of recognizing me. Now, you may not know it, but back in the day, if you've heard of a place called San Antonio, the only way you could come into Austin was this road right here, known as the Old San Antonio Road. This thing right here would bring you in. It was about a 2.5-week walk if you came here. But let me just start the tour off here on the left-hand side by telling you, right here, Pete's Dueling Piano Bar. Great place for dueling pianos. You'll see these folks out here playing piano later tonight. On the other hand, it belonged to Mr. Paggi, an Italian immigrant who brought the very first ice-making machine from Paris, France, made him his first cool million. If you've ever been to Boston, they have a Cheers bar there, so do we. That is a little place here that we kind of share with Boston. On the right-hand side, the Museum of the Weird. This is actually very family friendly. You can see that they have the Fiji mermaid, the Texas Bigfoot, all kinds of crazy things in there. It is family friendly. You'll definitely enjoy the oddities that they have in them. But on the other hand, the upstairs actually was an apartment for a guy by the name of Johnny Depp, the actor, when he was doing a movie called What's Eating Gilbert Grape from a few years back. Here on the left-hand side, back in the day when cotton was king, this is the old cotton exchange here. The Port Choices right here actually is where the farmers would bring their cotton to be weighed and sold out of this building. This was the epicenter of town, and that's why we do say this is the Old San Antonio Road, as well as 6th Street, as well as Pecan Street, the other name for it. And you may not feel it too much, but you're going to go through the intersection here and you'll feel a little bit of turbulence. That's the original brick that they left in place here to kind of commemorate the fact that this was the epicenter of town. Everybody came in here to bring their goods. If you think about it, like maybe going to an amusement park like Six Flags, you get off the ride and you come out, everybody's got the souvenirs right there. They just kind of funnel you right through that. Well, this was the same thing. Everybody would set up their tents here and they would actually sell their wares along this street. One of our local girl gangs, let's give them a quacking away. Everybody, 1, 2, 3, get them! Don't let those smiles fool you. Those ladies are responsible for about 20% of the crime in our city. Here on the left-hand side, Maggie Mays, Stevie Ray Vaughan, guitarist, got his start way back there. You can see that there are lots of crazy things happening. Let's give a quacking away to the 2nd floor over here at the Brown Pavement. That is what we set up to kind of keep things safe. That is known as an open-air venue. Repose on the right-hand side. Oh, no. Maybe we can get them to join our Zowie group. What do you think? I think we can. I can tell they have potentials. Hey, nothing's impossible. Say a little prayer. You never know. What if we pull up next to them and they say, hey, we want to join the Zowie group, all right? Now, as we travel through, I do remind you, this was one of the widest streets in the U.S. at one time. This is how everybody came in from San Antonio. You can hear the live music already happening. There are lots of places down here in case you do come walking down here to get souvenirs. Now, we have the visitor center that we normally go out on, but I'm telling you here, left-hand side, these are really nice little places to come in and get all kinds of Texas collectibles. If you're not from here, those trinkets right there, I promise you they will last at least 2 weeks before they break, all right? So make sure you get those souvenirs. Get it for the people you love, maybe don't like, all right?
love but don't like.
Again, traveling through, we'll let these young ladies kind of go ahead. This on the right-hand side is the old San Jack Saloon. You can see they're set up for live music already here on a Friday night. That is country music, Honky Tonk Bar. That is actually owned by an actor by the name of Jared Padalecki, who was in a show called Gilmore Girls. He also had his own show, Supernatural, for about 15 seasons. And of course, he's the new Texas Walker Ranger. Here, both sides, you take a look, the buildings look very old. That's because you're not allowed to change these buildings in any way. They have to stay preserved the way they are. They have a history to them. This is Voodoo Donuts. If you went to Portland, you'd be in line for 2 hours to get these very donuts. But here in Austin, nobody likes them. 2 minutes, you'll be on your way. Don't even worry about it. Left-hand side, the Grove Building. That was the pharmacy back in the day. That is the original copper-facing window that came from Italy. They brought it to New York City by boat, and then, of course, they brought it here via train. Now, these buildings may all look kind of the same, but back in the day, they had their own distinct look. And for those of you that are not familiar with it, we built this city on rock and roll back in 1837 is when we became the cowboy town of Austin. We were formerly known as Waterloo. That is a name that maybe the French don't like very much. Napoleon Bonaparte didn't like the name Waterloo, and neither did our second president of the country of Texas. For those of you that are not from Texas, guess what? We were our own country, the Republic of Texas, 1839. We became, in fact, we can actually still pull out of the U.S. at any time, and we've got a few people try to do that. Let's give a quack and a wave very slowly, but give a quack and a wave here on the right-hand side of these fellows who are right there, serving the community. This right here is a bit of our history. It's the Driscoll Hotel. This was built in 1886 by Colonel Jesse Driscoll. He was a cattle baron, and he actually built this hotel for about $400,000, which is probably about $32 million by today's standards. You can see that it has an enormous entrance here. In fact, ex-President Johnson has a presidential suite up there, and he had his first date with his future wife, Claudia, right here in this bakery. Now, as we kind of edge around here, these buildings around here have a history all to themselves. This one right here was the very first skyscraper in our city. Now, you're not going to be impressed if you look at it, but at 7 stories tall, it was way bigger than every other building this side of the Mississippi. However, the guy across the street wanted a bigger building. So if this guy had 7 stories, Mr. Littlefield, how do you think Mr. Scarborough built his building to have a bigger one? How about one more? How about 8 stories? Well, now you know the rest of the story. This guy came back with 2 more floors, wanted the biggest building again. At the time he got it, he was in such a hurry, he covered over his rooftop and only had a 4.5-foot ceiling up there. Many of you ladies would have to bend over to be able to get in there. I'm telling you, well, that is where ex-President Johnson used to come and play illegal poker back in the day. So he didn't mind kind of hunching over to get in there to play a little bit of poker with the boys. Now, this street here we're about to turn right on is also a main street. It's known as Congress. It is not named after a river going across the state of Texas in the order they appear. That's the exception. If you look to the left over there, that giant USB memory stick down there is known as the Austonian. It was the biggest building in the city at a time, but not anymore. It is 57 stories tall. And yes, it actually happens to be where Alicia Keys and Kanye West have their own separate condos coming in at $4.5 million. As we turn on to Congress, you can see the beautiful Capitol at the end of the block. Before we get there, some different things to note. The left-hand side, this is part of our history and lady power. That lady, her name is Angelina Eberly. She actually saved the city more than once, because if you remember, Sam Houston was elected the very first president of the country of Texas, and what he did was he sent the Texas Rangers down here to get the records, archives, and move the Capitol back to Houston. By all means, the Capitol should be in Houston, but it's not, because that lady shot a 6-pound cannonball across the street into the archives building and kind of scared the Texas Rangers. A beautiful mural over here. You got a cheetah and some different wildlife. The yellow building that you see behind it there, that giant Gothic building, that's actually the Norwood building. That is still owned by the Johnson family to this day. In fact, Lucy Baines Johnson still lives at the very top of that building with her husband to this day. On the right-hand side, we have a little bit of a comedy festival. It's called the Moon Tower. Now, Moon Towers are light poles, but in this case, Moon Tower Comedy Festival, you can see we've got Roy Wood Jr., we've had Jenny Slade, Howie Mandel, all different kinds of comedians come in here to perform. But this is also where we did a movie known as Batman. The original red carpet premiere of Batman was done out of here. They also did another movie known as, well, you may have heard of it, Everything Everywhere All at Once was also red carpet premiered out of here during our South by Southwest Movie Festival. And the one that I put into code is Best Little Chicken House in Texas, all right? So that was also red carpet premiered. That would be Burt Reynolds and Dolly Parton. And you might not know it, but a group called ZZ Top got a major hit called LaGrange. That is the little house of ill repute that stood there about 60 miles from here in the little town known as LaGrange, Texas. Straight ahead, the beautiful capital. I'll ask all y'all a question here. Now in Texas, I don't know how you say where you come from, but here, two people is y'all. Everybody is all y'all. You may know that one. Now, I will say this, ladies, and I'm sure you've been on the receiving end. If a nice, mature Southern woman ever says, well, bless your heart, punch her in the stomach, all right? I know y'all aren't, you're probably not fighters, but just pray for her, okay? All right, just pray for her, because she's going to need it. She's basically attacking you and your family. Now, my friends, straight ahead, the beautiful Capitol. Let's go ahead and ask, did all y'all know that that Capitol is bigger than the U.S. Capitol? You knew that? Well, you know now. And if you didn't know, do you know why it's bigger? Because everything's bigger in Texas. I can't believe y'all walked into that one. Oh my goodness. We're going to have some fun here. All right, so here's the deal. The real reason it's bigger is called a loophole or an exception, right? So there is a statue, and don't worry, I'm going to stop in front and give you a chance to stand up, take your pictures, do whatever you want. This is your private charter, so you get to take some time and do those things. Now, the thing is, there's a statue on top. If you think of New York City, the Statue of Liberty, we have the Goddess of Liberty, and you'll see her clear when I pull over there. In New York City, she's made out of copper. In Austin, she's made out of aluminum, but she's the second one. The first one was made out of copper. And we found out what happens to copper, so they moved her inside to the Bob Bullock Museum, which is a really cool museum 2 blocks from here if you get a chance to ever check that out. They have the original Goddess of Liberty, the one made out of copper. They have dinosaur bones. They have all kinds of artifacts and things here from the history of Texas. Now, going back here, and I'll tell you what, whenever I see the name free, if anybody's looking for some free Bible classes, they got them right here. Let's give these ladies a quacking away for doing a good deed. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3, yeah! We need 44, we're going to sign up, 44 people to stand up, do what you got to do to get your pictures in there. We'll let this driver pull out right here, and I'll move up just another couple feet here. And by the way, as you look at the Capitol, know that it's covered in pink granite. That covering was brought from about 40 miles away, known as Marble Falls, Texas. This beautiful statue right here, very important to our African-American culture here. That is the Emancipation statue. It actually has part of the Juneteenth proclamation on that. As you know, a year after their freedom, many African-Americans here in Texas did not know. Somebody forgot to tell them they actually had their freedom. And that is the proclamation letting all know that everyone was free. If you do take a tour, it is a 3-hour tour, but they're not going to tell you any more than I tell you in 5 minutes. So save yourself the time. I'll give you the short Reader's Digest version. Now, this thing right here actually has 4 floors underground called a basement. Is there anybody here that's from a place where you have basements? Anybody? Okay, so you know what a basement is. We don't do basements in Texas. We're built on a bedrock. So this is the only basement in Austin right here. And that cost the taxpayers $75 million. Meanwhile, the entire Capitol above ground only cost $3.7 million. So that tells you just exactly how much a basement can cost. And by the way, $3.0 million of that were actually acres given to 2 brothers out of Chicago who actually use what's called the XIT Ranch, or the biggest ranch in the world of 3 million acres. So we're going to kind of edge out of here. If you want to compare, yes, this thing right here, 2.2 acres of lawn versus Washington, D.C., 3.2 acres of lawn. You may have seen the circles up there below the flags. Those are the 6 flags of Texas. Yes, it's an amusement park, but I find it amusing when people don't realize it's our history. We have been under 6 different flags: Spain, France, Mexico, the Republic of Texas, our own country, 1839. We've also been under the Confederacy and now the good old USA. So there you have your 6 flags over Texas. Here on the left-hand side, not many cities have the governor's mansion right there, smack dab in the middle of the city. This is actually where Greg Abbott currently resides. The previous governor, Rick Perry, he got somebody so mad they threw a Molotov cocktail right through the front doors. That's not a drink, ladies. That's a bomb, all right? They threw it right through the front door in protest, and luckily for us, Rick Perry and his hair and his wife and the furniture were not in the building because that thing got pretty scorched up. It was burnt. It looked like a burnt marshmallow. But as we said, nobody was in the house. They were actually going to refurbish it. All of the archives and records were being stored in separate locations. And by the way, this is the oldest continuously lived in home in the entire country of Texas. That's your history. Way off in the distance, we'll take a look at those buildings in a few minutes, a little bit closer. To the right over here is UT campus. That is the second wealthiest endowment. UT campus actually has a tower that actually is pretty scary when you think about it. It's called the UT Tower. And you may, if you remember back then, have seen something in the news where a gentleman by the name of Charles Whitman climbed that tower 58 years ago and caused 46 victims worth of damage. 16 of those were actually fatal. Kind of put Texas on the map in a very bad way. But I tell you what, well, times have changed and things are a little bit safer out here, but we still have those incidences on the school properties, and so that is probably one of the things that we worry about more than anything with our children. I will also say I used to be a teacher myself. Now I'm a bus driver because I make twice as much money as a bus driver as I did as a teacher. So any teachers on board, you know what yes, we don't do it for the money, we do it for the parents and the administrators, right? I mean, that's what it's all about. Or not really. But anyway, yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, speaking of justice, this is a beautiful place where people get married every single day. It is actually, well, believe it or not, Alex Jones lost his first $45 million in this building right here, so that's kind of a good thing. And on the other hand, this beautiful building is where a guy by the name of Heman Marion Sweat, he actually was an African American who hired a lawyer by the name of Thurgood Marshall. That guy got him into UT Law School as the very first African American. Let's show a little celebration here. Let's give these folks a quack and a wave to show we celebrate them. Congratulations on the nuptials. Beautiful. Oh, yeah. And by the way, we're coming to the reception. I got a bunch of ladies with me. We'll meet you there. All right. They just got a real scared look on their face. Maybe we should probably continue. Just kidding, y'all. Just kidding. All right. But anyway, not only did Thurgood Marshall perform in here and get that guy, Heman Marion Sweat, entered into UT Law School, but also my parents were married in this building right here. Oh, yeah. And actually, 11 years after their marriage, my dad was acquitted in the same building. So it's a special place for our family. I'm kidding, y'all. He's still in prison, but I don't want to talk about it. All right, let's move on. Take a look over here to the right side. This is Wooldridge Square. A guy by the name of Booker T. Washington gave a speech off this very stage here after they cleared it out. What happened is it was a landfill. It had a bunch of trash in it, but what they did was they cleared it out, and Mr. Wooldridge gathered the community. They invited Booker T. to come in and give the very first speech. And I tell you what, it's been a celebratory place. Ex-President Johnson, many other people have given speeches off that very stage. Now remember this later, ladies, because we'll come back to it, but that is a moon tower. Above this left-hand side Guadalupe sign, that metal structure is what we call a moon tower or a light pole. That is how we light up Austin, and believe it or not, we had 31 of those way back when we first started Austin, but they were so hard to change out the carbon arc lamps. In other words, lanterns at the very top of those, and they, by the way, used a pulley system to pull themselves up to the top. No elevators going there with a machine. They were doing everything by arm. And I tell you what, the 3 ladies and the 2 gentlemen had some guns on them. I'll tell you, they would pull themselves up to the very top, change out the carbon arc lamps, come back down and go to the next one. Remember I said 31 of those? Highest paid workers in the city of Austin. Now, obviously we use electricity now, and that's a little easier to light the city up, but we're the only city left in the United States that uses moon towers. And by the way, the one city that used them back in the day is my old hometown of Detroit, Michigan. We also have them in Chicago, Illinois, and Austin, Texas, being the 3rd and final resting place for those moon towers. Now take a look over here on the right-hand side, because this is what I would consider to be the French Quarter. But first, we're going to quack and wave at these scooter gang members right here on the right-hand side. Let's give it to them. 1, 2, 3, yeah! Those scooters are a great way to get around town. If you like reliving your childhood on a scooter, that's the way to do it right there. So take a look at this neighborhood. This is the Vermont block. Now, this is what I would consider to be the French Quarter. The Vermont brothers were from France, and these homes were very exclusive. In other words, the only way you could live in this neighborhood was to be a member of the Vermont family by blood or by marriage. Very exclusive little neighborhood. 2,000 square feet right here. This is a gorgeous home by today's standards, and imagine these being way back in the 1800s. I will also say around the corner there is actually a wedding venue now, but it was one of the grandkids that owned a giant home. That was the first home in Austin to have an indoor elevator. That was a machine elevator, not one of those pull yourself up by the bootstraps kind of place. It also had what we call the Downton Abbey, if you want to call it that, the dumbwaiters, where they would send up food to the second floor by pulling on a lever. And also they had the bell system where they would actually ding the bell or pull the wire, bringing their servants upstairs. So lots of old history in this neighborhood. I will also say here that this little neighborhood right here actually still intact. Everything is original except for the red and yellow bear down there at the end of the block. Otherwise, everything is all original hardware, including the wrought iron fencing. Now, I think you ladies will appreciate this, that you get a fair shake and that everybody kind of ends up okay. And so if you take a look, you might be wondering, why is it that this little tiny house has impeded the building of this building? Look how the building goes all the way around it. I will tell you why. That was the first divorce in Austin, and she's not letting go of that property. All right? So, build around, y'all, but it ain't going to happen here. All right, so good for her. All right, now hold on. It does get a little bumpy here. There is a pothole. I don't want anybody to kind of get banged around here. I will try to go through as slowly as possible, but just while we're stopped here, this place right here will soon be the biggest building in our city. Now, we are definitely turning into some giant skyscraper buildings here. Austin is the 10th largest city in the United States. We're the 4th largest city in Texas. But as I said, we are expected to double our population. That is because we do have those companies, Samsung, Dell, Intel, Tesla, Google, all these different corporations that have come here for success are actually bringing a lot of people with them to live here. Now, we don't have enough realty to provide homes for everybody to buy. So we are doing a lot of condos. This is going to be 66 stories tall. And I don't want you to get nervous, but it's here at the corner of 6th and Guadalupe, so you got 666 in a different way, all right? So say a prayer over it before we turn. All right, there we go. All right, let's turn back onto 6th Street here, and actually, this is the part, hold on. This is the part where we take 6th Street all the way out to the lake. Are all y'all ready to take a boat ride? All right, I think that's what you came here for. The left-hand side, you haven't had any action lately. How about a quack and a wave on the left-hand side for these folks? Ready? 1, 2, 3. You see the initial frown, but you turned it upside down into a smile. Oh, they can't resist the charm of the duck and all y'all beauty queens. All right, so this is 6th Street, known as West End. We have a large population of artists here, and I don't just mean entertainment as far as music. You can see the artists. I call this one Flower Children right here. But that happens to be one of many murals. There's one over there on Congress that says, "I love you so much." It's famous. People come from cities around and other countries to take a picture underneath that one on the side of Joe's Coffee Shop. Oh yeah, you got yourself an old urban cowboy right here. How about a couple of cowboys? Let's give them a quack and a wave. Everybody, 1, 2, 3, hit them. That's right, urban cowboys still alive here in Austin, Texas. For those of you that may have followed her career, a young lady by the name of Sandra Bullock actually owns this building right here. This is Sandra Bullock's one-stop shop, ladies, for all your wedding needs. She's got bakery, delicatessen, gourmet to go, floral services, gift baskets, catering events. Yes, Walden's Fancy and Staple is Sandra Bullock's one-stop shop for all your wedding needs. How about a quack and a wave for the ladies over here on the left-hand side? Ready? 1, 2, 3, yeah! Even the dudes are waving at you. Good job. All right. Left-hand side, take a look at that. You might want to get a picture of it because it's probably going to collapse in the next couple weeks. That is the Jenga building. That is the biggest building right now that's complete in our city at 59 stories tall. That thing defies gravity, science, and the pocketbook in that in 2019, you could have purchased a condo in there for about $1 million. At this point, you cannot touch anything in there for less than $4 to $6.5 million. All right, so, oh yeah, things are getting pretty expensive here in Austin, Texas. Now, to be creative throughout the pandemic, there were a lot of different and opposing kind of beliefs on what was causing it. So they decided to kind of get creative and say, you know what? We're going to take the roof off of this building and try to keep things kind of open air, which they had the right idea when you think about it. Over on this side over here, they took the bricks out of the wall so that they can keep fresh air coming in and out of there. So all kinds of different ways to kind of maybe fight the pandemic. And eventually, now, I don't know about y'all, but we actually believed it was in the water for a while. They were not letting us go out onto the lake, and that was kind of another theory. All right, my friends, quack and wave to all these ladies on the left-hand side. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Yeah! How about these 3 gang members right here? Give it to them right there. That is our most dangerous gang in town. Those 3 ladies, I'm telling you. They mugged me last week, and I'm going back tomorrow. All right, so anyway. Now, if you look to the right, if you look to the left, not very impressive, but that's called Shoal Creek. And that is where Sam Houston shot the very first white buffalo he had ever seen in his life. And guess what? When he did that, he said, you know what? I think maybe we should move the capital from Houston to Austin so that I can better serve the constituents. And by the way, do some hunting on the side as well. So that's pretty much the best reason to move here. Left-hand side, if you've ever been to a Whole Foods, this is it right here. This is the beginning, the Alpha. This is where it first started. This is the headquarters of Whole Foods, if you've ever heard of them. If you have a full Whole Foods where you live, you can thank these people because this is where 2 gentlemen came together, 1978, with brainstorm of organic groceries. And by the way, you may not have heard, but it got taken over here in Austin by a guy by the name of Jeff Bezos and his company known as Amazon. So yes, Amazon now owns that building right there. They're still kind of supporting the community, but keeping Austin weird, what that means is supporting local business. That's what we do here. By the way, we are not affiliated with the, say, Boston or Wisconsin Ducks. We are an Austin and only Austin Duck, and it's a ma and pop. It's actually a husband and wife that own this company. Very, very nice people, very good to work for. Here on the right-hand side, if you're looking for ice cream later, ladies, look no further. Amy's Ice Cream. Amazing ice cream right there. Ladies, Lululemon, they're having a sale today. All the stretchy pants half off, only $175 if you want to get some. Y'all are the first ones to laugh at that. I thought maybe that was like I told my wife that and she goes, what? I have no idea what you're saying. And I was like, okay. I said, I think if they're smart enough, they'll get what I'm talking about. All right. Now, neighborhood. Now, this was an old Swedish neighborhood. Now, I get it. It looks a little tiny bit sketchy, but here's the thing. 3 gentlemen purchased all this property. And of course, you know what happens. You purchase the property, you sit on it, and then you can actually build. So everything to the right is going to look what you see on the left. They're taking it. Progress, it can be good, bad, and it can be ugly. It just depends. They will blow all these old buildings down, including my Swedish building. If you like oysters as much as I do, let's give a quack and wave to Clark's Oyster Bar right here on the right-hand side. Oh, yeah. Oh, and that was on the phone. Sorry, sir. All right, anyway. So here's the deal. That little place right there is named after Clarksville. And that is this entire little village right here, which is pretty important to the history of our African Americans here in Texas. In fact, you may not know it, but Clarksville was the first place after the Juneteenth proclamation that actually African Americans could own their own property and have their own realty here. And it was one of the nicer neighborhoods in the city. So I think you probably heard that story before where everything looks a little bit nicer. So of course, if you go in there now, you're going to have a tough time not finding a lot of white people living there, all right? So they really do love the realty in here, and it has come a long way, but it is one of those things that we kind of look back on and say, how can we improve this and make things a little bit more equal in life? Now, we're going to take you out to the lake, and I have to turn you into Texans so that you can come in here and change can be made and we can get the changes that we want in our society. So what I need for all y'all to do is give me a really big yeehaw, all right? Yeah, that's it. That's it right there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to count to 3 so we do it loud and proud. Maybe somebody wants to videotape this so we have it for future generations, all right? At the count of 3, are you ready? 1, Oh, wait till we count to three. All right, let's get ready. Cameras ready. All right, take one. 1, 2, 3. Yeah! Welcome to Texas, Zowie. We are so glad you are here, and we are going to in case you don't know where you're at, you are deep, deep, deep in the heart of Texas, my friends. Just go ahead and kick it in with a little bit of music. And as we do, I think I messed it up. Let me just take a take two. In case you don't know where you're at, you are deep, deep, deep in the heart of Texas. All right, let's try that again. There we go. Sit back, relax, and stride. We're heading out to the lake. By the way, this is known as the Mamonwam Highway. In case you don't realize it, it stands for the Missouri Pacific Railroad line. However, as you can see, if you get on this highway any time of day, it's more packed than any other highway, all right? So this is where religious people say you'll spend eternity. Do not get on that highway right there. Let's continue on as we go to the lake. Once we get out to the water and we're on the water, you'll be more than willing and more than able to stand up because it'll be a full-fledged boat, all right? So hold on. Now we just crossed over to what is known as the Lake Austin Boulevard, but it's still 6th Street if you look at it that way. If you look to your left, you're going to see 80 miles of multi-million-dollar homes. We got more movie stars, swimming pools, and Texas tea than they have in California right here. Corporations. This is H-E-B. If you didn't know, that's our grocery store. They are a giant chain here. They are actually the biggest competitors to Whole Foods with a store called Central Market. This thing has a barbecue restaurant. It has a donut and coffee shop. It also has a pizza parlor, but it also has groceries and a pharmacy. That's my H-E-B right there. By the way, if you don't know what H-E-B stands for, a lot of people call it the HEB. They don't realize it stands for Howard E. Butts. That's why he doesn't put his name on the grocery store. Right? Now you know. If you like to golf, this is where it all started right here. This is where Ben Crenshaw and Tom Kite learned how to play golf way back in the days as youngsters. It is the most played public golf course in Austin, Texas. 2 minutes, Lake Austin. We're on our way. We are about to enter into the lake zone, and I will just say this about lakes. We have over 7,000 lakes in the country of Texas, but of the 7,000 lakes we have, only one is a natural lake, and that is called the Cattle Lake, named after the Native Americans that lived around that lake. The other Native Americans we have here, Comanche and Apache. This lake we're about to go into is not a natural lake, it's a river. It's called the Colorado River, but it's not the one that goes to Colorado. This thing actually is, well, green, and that's what it should be called, Rio Verde. But while we're out here, ladies, the only rule we ask is don't rock the boat. Or should I say, don't rock the boat, baby. Left-hand side, that is the Tom Miller Dam. Tom Miller was our mayor for 24 consecutive years, so we named the hydroelectric dam after him. As we get into the lake zone, in case you do get a chance to come out here, this is kind of cool. This is the same water that is near your hotel, but out here we call it Lake Austin. That's the hula hut. That's a Polynesian Mexican confusion. Oh yeah, they got Hawaiian fajitas in there, very delicious. We're gonna stop here and let these folks double cross us right here. And right next door is quince, that means 15 in Spanish, but in this case, it happens to be great seafood. Go ahead, friend, go for it. All right, moving on. Somebody always asks, what kind of trees are these over here? You would think cherry blossoms, but they're fake trees. That's what they are. So they look beautiful year round. Take a look. If you like coffee, cappuccino, lattes, and desserts, this place right here, sitting next to the lake with live music later on, and a great place to get maybe some cannolis or brownies, coffee, cappuccino, hot or cold. It's all here, and a great place to hang out. By the way, if you're wondering how did we get here, all we did was get on 6th Street and follow it all the way out here. We are going to enter into this lake, which is a beautiful lake, but you will see it is a little bit green. This is actually where we get our drinking water, but we put some food dye in it, so I know y'all are laughing, but that's a nervous laugh because it's actually true, all right? So, as we cross over here, here are the safety features. No one on board has to worry. We have enough life jackets for everybody except 4 of you, so you're going to decide who are we going to vote off the island? Who's going to get voted out? I volunteer this lady right here. I think, yeah. No, I'm teasing. We have more than enough life jackets. And by the way, just to make you feel better, this entire boat is unsinkable. They cut one of these in half and prove both halves still float. Remember, these are not the military ducks you see in the news. This is a very safe hydrant tear. We're going to go in slowly. Nobody is going to get wet. I promise you, that's not the kind of ride we do. And especially since we got in trouble for knocking over a bunch of boats in the water, so we don't do that anymore. We're going to put a little bit of music on here. A guy by the name of Christopher Cross came up with a little song called Sailing, so we're going to go ahead and put that one in. Once we're in, you're more than welcome to stand up. Hang on, that's the wrong song. Sorry about that. Hope that's not a bad omen. One more prayer. Here we go. Y'all are scaring these people over here. Like, what is going on? We're okay. We're not sinking. We're good. That one guy grabbed a life jacket. He was going to throw it over here. All right, friends. Let's go ahead. At this point, everybody on board could stand up if you want to. You can stand up. Even if everybody over here came to this side of the boat, you could not tip the boat. Now, you can tip your driver, but you can't tip the boat, all right? So let's go ahead and kick it into gear. Welcome to the lake, and welcome to the boat ride. Let's put a little bit of music on here for you.
This is looking at the lifeboat. I mean, my life jacket, making sure. But making sure life jacket.
They're actually called river boats. We'll get out of their way and kind of head over here to this side. Well, it kind of defies science, but yes, you're in a bus with a boat beneath it, and that makes it floatable. Welcome to the lake. This lake, as I said, is called the Colorado River, but it's not the same one. 40 feet deep here in the middle, about 130 yards across. To the right of us is a turtle sanctuary. If you like turtles, you'll see the very first turtle this morning on that branch. He made it out there and he is waving at you. Everybody else doesn't get the good seats. Now, as I said, 80 miles of multi-million-dollar homes out here, so you can imagine the kind of money that gets put into these. I will say, there are lots and lots of beautiful homes, and they're all different, very unique in their own way. So start looking now, ladies, and decide where you want to move back to, and come on back. Now, the one house that's not for sale is this one to the right, because that's my house. Everybody wave at my wife and kids up there. Sorry about them. I told you this job paid a lot of money. No, I'm just kidding. Actually, that is a beautiful home. Take a look. You see the 40-foot chandelier there in the dining room. It's got a sunroom to it. The mother-in-law lives up there. And what was the trade-off? The gentleman got 5 boathouses out of it. So he is doing pretty good too. Don't feel bad for him. There's another sunroom down here. But this is something that y'all queens should make note of and maybe demand from your hubby at home or whoever you got at home. Take a look at that tracking at the edge of the property. That's called a vernacular. A vernacular is a $300,000 elevator that his wife uses to glide up and down without using the stairs. She never drops a bead of sweat off that beautiful forehead because she's got the full treatment. The Airbnb is that yellow house right here next door, about $1,200 for a night for 6 couples. And then 2 waterfalls on the property. It also has 2 bridges on the property and, of course, an amazing boathouse. The view is spectacular, and all of this is available for the low price of about $14 million. If you look to the left-hand side up there, that giant glass home is beautiful. You could actually look this up on your phone. It's called the Manta Ray home. If you look up Manta Home in Austin, that glass home right there is 17,000 square feet of amazing home. By the way, I don't know many Walmarts or churches that are 17,000 square feet, so that is a good size building right there. It actually was built in tribute to manta rays, and that, my friends, is why we call it the manta ray. But wait, look at the roof. If you look at the roof, you can see the middle section. That would be the head of the manta ray, and on each side would be the fins of that manta ray. But wait, the couple demanded that they put in a red and white cellular tower for better reception, and also it serves as the stinger on the back of the manta ray. If you keep looking at it, you'll see the stinger come into view there. So you have a full-fledged manta ray. That was $45 million to build that home. The house next door was only $13 million, but that doesn't look like a dolphin or a manta ray. Now, as I said, coming out here, a little bit of choppy water, but I think we're pretty smooth out here. This water right in the middle to the left of us is about 30, what are they saying, 32 feet deep, according to the depth meter. 32, it goes up to about 40 feet deep further up. It's about 130 yards across, so it is a pretty decent sized lake. It is a river, but it's not the Colorado River that goes to Colorado. Now, we're going to do a little bit of reggae for you. We have the Reggae Festival here in town, and this is actually not the person you'd think would sing reggae, but this is Toots and the Maytals doing a duet with Willie Nelson. So here's our own Willie Nelson singing with Toots and the Maytals. Once again, ladies, you are more than welcome to stand up, stretch your legs, take your pictures, but it's a weird thing to say to people, but if you're on a back road when it rains, you say 3 or 4 inches of water on the road, you would call that a puddle or maybe a little tiny flood. But you have to decide, because if you don't turn around, you may end up getting swept downstream, and it happens here in Texas quite a bit. Just from the 3 or 4 inches of water? No, because like California, a sinkhole, it actually, all the ground below collapses and kind of gets washed downstream. Over here to the left-hand side, that's actually Mount Bunnell. We'll flip around and you'll see it a little bit better. But Mount Bunnell is the highest point in Austin city limits. It doesn't look very big if you're from Montana, Colorado, California, but that's the biggest we got right there. He did sell it because what happened is it actually got infested with bats. Yeah, Austin immediately, but the guy that bought it is a guy that works for Elon Musk. Now this guy is a wheeler dealer. He said, you know what, I'll buy the house knowing what happened, but you got to throw in the helicopter. And of course, you're wondering what I mean. Take a look at the two boats. See the spiral staircase right there? Well, that is a helipad, that flat roof right there. It's the Gigafactory out there in Bastrop every day. It's about 30 miles away. Don't look now, says the boat right there. That's probably Captain Brandon out there. As we flip around, again, that is Mount Bunnell to your right-hand side. You can actually get there by taking 6th Street, turn right onto Mopac, and turn left onto 2222. This is the pup. This is the smaller of the two boats right here. That could be Captain Brandon, or it could be Captain John. Not really sure. They're doing a little cruise there. You can actually, as a group, we would mention it for you maybe next time. You could get your entire group on that boat. It's a little more expensive, but it is definitely a good way to keep the entire group together. And of course, unless you ladies didn't like the other ladies, that you may go on that boat, all right? So if that's true, wink, wink, your secret's safe with me, all right? Now, is there anybody on board that is kind of like in charge, or did we have the head honcho, the lead lady come on here? Is she here? Ivy? Where are you at, Ivy?
I'm here.
Come on up here. We want to do a little special presentation for you. I think I talked to you, Ivy, and then I think you ended up talking to Captain Kirk. So come on up, Ivy. So since you're in charge, what I want to do is make you an honorary captain. So I want you to learn how to drive this duck, all right? I'm going to teach you. Once you're a captain, if you ever need a job as a duck driver, you got one, all right? So let me get out of your way here. Oh, y'all thought I was kidding? Oh, no. Do you know something about her I don't? Why is everybody doing this? That's kind of neat. All right, Ivy, you come around me. Don't be scared, ladies. She is definitely going to do just fine, all right? Ivy, come on in here. I can tell that you're a good driver. Yes. I can tell you're a good driver just because you have really nice rings, all right? She's got the look of the captain. So, Ivy, here's how you do it. I'm going to teach you, and then we're going to have a contest, and I'm going to pick one of these ladies back here to take you on in a Kenneth Mas Macho kind of contest, all right? So here's what you're going to do. You're going to turn the steering wheel a little bit to the left. This steering wheel, your other left, good. And then once you do that, then I want you to start pressing very lightly to press the gas, okay? You're doing great. A little bit more. You're doing great. Yeah, go ahead. And don't worry, they'll miss you because they'll go to the other side of the lake once they see you swerving back and forth. What do you think? I take over. You can be the captain. Go ahead and turn to the right. Yes, keep going. We're going to kind of just give them a little bit of space again. Work it hard, girl. You just take to the right. Look at that. She is working it. Now, overcompensate, go back to the left. There you go. As hard as you can. You're doing great. Don't worry. She's got this down. She's got it down. While you're driving. A transformation song? What song? Sailing home, sailing home, with Jesus in the vessel we can smile at the stars. That is amazing. And you know what? We're going to go ahead and get you out of there because I think this lady's going to have a heart attack if we don't get you out of there. Yeah, no, don't worry. We do this every day. All right. Y'all, somebody who's got the meds, just help her out. Okay, you know what to do. All right. All right, let's get her out of there. Give her a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. I promise you we do this all the time. I've had 2-year-old kids driving. We've never had an accident. So, Ivy, I think you're better than a 2-year-old. That's all I'm going to say. All right. Thank you, and thank you for setting this up. Can we have a round of applause for Ivy who set this up? Ivy, give her a hug, give her a hug. All right, there you go. All right. I actually had a lady who was so upset and nervous she tried to jump off the boat. And I thought, that's probably going to be counterintuitive. You're probably safer staying on the boat. So I'm glad you stuck with us. Very good. All right, my friends, in case you ever want to come back here and enjoy a little bit of beautiful fishing or swimming, they have all kinds of great things out here. I'm going to go ahead and kind of take you back this way and enjoy the lake out here. Are you really going to put that life jacket on? If you want to take your pictures, you can. Just put it back after. You know that's a child's life jacket, right? Ladies, having a great time out here with you. It is definitely an enjoyable day, and I